So, Mark Zuckerberg and Meta just made a huge announcement. They're shifting their focus to a new, incredibly ambitious goal: building artificial superintelligence. Now, this isn't just some minor product update. It's a massive pivot for one of the biggest companies on the planet, and it forces all of us to ask a really critical question about our future. Is this progress, or is it peril? Let's dive in and unpack what this actually means.
This right here, this is the quote that really shook things up. Zuckerberg isn't just talking about a slightly smarter AI. He's making the claim that creating systems that go way beyond human intelligence is no longer science fiction. He says it's a goal that's actively in sight. So what exactly is this future that Meta is trying to build?
To get a handle on this, let's start by looking at it through Meta's own lens, the visionary lens. This is the official story they're telling us, and it's all built around this one big idea: personal empowerment. Meta has a very specific name for what they're building: personal superintelligence. And that first word, personal, that's everything. The way they define it, this isn't some giant, distant AI in a server farm. It's meant to be a companion, an AI dedicated to your goals, helping you create, learn, and, well, become who you want to be. Zuckerberg is very deliberate here. He frames this as a fundamental choice between two possible futures. On one side, he paints a picture of centralized automation, where one big AI does all the important work and humanity just lives off the proceeds. But he positions Meta's vision as the exact opposite, putting that incredible power directly into your hands for you to point it at what you care about. And he argues that this isn't some radical, crazy break from the past. He sees it as just the next logical step in a long historical trend. Just like technology freed most of us from farming, he believes superintelligence is going to free us from the daily grind, the repetitive work, so we can focus on what actually makes us human: creativity, culture, relationships, and just enjoying life. And Meta's plan for how to deliver this personal AI makes the whole vision feel very real, very tangible. It's not just software in the cloud. No, it's deeply tied to hardware, specifically their Ray-Ban Meta glasses. The idea is to give you an AI co-pilot that literally sees the world through your eyes and hears what you hear. Okay, so that's the utopian vision. That's the sales pitch. But now let's pull back the curtain and look at this through a strategic lens. Because underneath it all, this is a massive, high-stakes business gamble, driven by fierce competition and just billions and billions of dollars. Of course, not everyone is buying the inspirational story. There's a lot of public skepticism out there, which you can see in comments like this one from Reddit. After years of controversies, a lot of people see this as just another rebrand, a facelift for a company they don't really trust. And that raises some serious questions about the real motivation here. To really understand the strategy, you've got to follow the money. And first, let's just remember the context, right? Meta just burned through an astonishing $46 billion on its metaverse project, and, well, there's not a lot to show for it. That same willingness to spend big is now being aimed directly at this AI arms race. To win what people are calling the most expensive talent war in Silicon Valley history, Meta is apparently spending the equivalent of $14.3 billion just to poach the leadership team from a key startup, Scale AI. And that's just for the people. The investment needed for the infrastructure, I'm talking about data centers so massive they'll have the footprint of Manhattan, is expected to top a staggering $100 billion over the next few years. And it's all being funded by the absolute cash cow that is their social media business. So what does this all add up to? Well, when you piece it together, you can see a really clear strategic shift happening. Meta is going all in to win the AI talent war. It's planning to make money through hardware like the AI glasses, and in a really major pivot for them, it's moving away from its famous open source approach to get more proprietary control. Analysts think this is all about future-proofing the company's growth, building a new engine in case its social media empire gets hit with threats. Okay, finally, let's zoom all the way out to the biggest questions of all. Because this race to superintelligence isn't just a business competition. It forces us to grapple with these profound philosophical dilemmas and, frankly, potential risks to our entire species. At its absolute core, this is the dilemma we're facing. It's a razor's edge. On one hand, the potential upside is almost unimaginable. We're talking accelerated science, vastly longer lives, incredible economic growth. But on the other hand, the risks are just as staggering. An uncontrollable AI, a deep misalignment between its values and ours, and even the potential for an existential catastrophe. A critical concept to understand here is value alignment. This is the incredibly difficult problem, both technical and philosophical, of making sure a superintelligent AI's goals are actually compatible with ours. See, it's not enough for an AI to be smart. If its core objectives are even slightly off from what's good for humanity, the consequences could be, well, catastrophic. And philosophers like Nick Bostrom, they raise even deeper red flags. First, this idea of risk externalities. The risk of something going wrong is forced on every single person on Earth, which raises huge questions about fairness. Second, there's the danger of a catastrophic coordination failure. Basically, a race to the bottom where all these companies sacrifice safety because they're so terrified of falling behind. And third, there's this really bizarre but serious ethical issue, the potential for mind crime, the creation and possible mistreatment of countless sentient digital beings. This chart from a Stanford analysis makes that abstract trade-off shockingly clear. It asks a simple question. For the exact same reward, a massive 55-fold increase in global wealth, how much risk of human extinction is acceptable? Well, according to one common economic model, it could be worth a 1 in 3 chance of oblivion. 1 in 3 chance. But for someone who's more risk-averse, the acceptable risk plummets to just 4%. It just shows you there is no single right answer. It all depends on your ethical framework. Which leaves us with the ultimate question, right back where we started. Is Meta's vision of personal superintelligence the next great leap forward for humanity? Or is it a global gamble with stakes so high that no potential reward could ever justify the risk? The thing is, this debate isn't theoretical anymore. The next decade may very well decide the answer.